The Unrivaled's Week 2 ratings have come out. They are real bad. In fact, Angel Reese failed to break 100,000 viewers. Now tell me again how everybody's tuning in for you.
The WNBA's got a white girl problem, and it's not going away. It's getting worse.
Well, it has just been confirmed that Caitlin Clark will not be competing in the NBA three-point contest.
Caitlin Clark just made a shocking decision that left NBA fans stunned, while Angel Reese and the Unrivaled League continue to collapse in embarrassing fashion.
A lot of people are tuning in for that little highlight where she lined up for that wide open top of the key three and then airballed it. She's still getting crushed.
Clark, the biggest name in women's basketball, has officially rejected the NBA All-Star Weekend three-point contest, refusing to follow in Sabrina Ionescu's footsteps.
The Caitlin Clark experience has been nonstop. Here's a woman that becomes the biggest star in sports.
But while Clark is making power moves, Angel Reese's league is falling apart, proving once again that without Caitlin Clark, women's basketball struggles to hold attention.
Without Caitlin Clark, the ratings were going to be a dumpster fire rolling downhill on a tire fire, and that's exactly what we've got.
Remember when Reese claimed that fans were tuning in for her? Well, the latest Unrivaled League ratings just exposed that as a complete lie, with some games barely cracking 75,000 viewers. Meanwhile, Clark's WNBA games continue to shatter records, pulling in millions.
Caitlin Clark's season is over does not mean we are going to stop talking about her, so let's continue.
In today's video, we're breaking down how Caitlin Clark's NBA rejection is actually a genius move, how Angel Reese's Unrivaled League is failing without her, and why Clark's decision is about to change women's basketball forever. Buckle up, this is going to be big.
The new women's basketball league, Unrivaled, is averaging 194,000 viewers. Coverage on Monday night averaged 166,000. Saturday coverage averaged 98,000. The battle between Dejanay Carrington and Angel Reese barely broke 75,000 viewers. Are you kidding me? If Caitlin Clark would have played in that game, it would have got 500,000 viewers.
Let's start with the facts. Without Caitlin Clark, women's basketball is struggling to draw viewers, and nowhere is that more obvious than in the Unrivaled League.
I mean, that is garbage. We told you people wasn't going to tune in for this league. We tried to tell you that. Oh no, watch, Angel's going to ball. You can't argue with 76,000 viewers.
When this league was announced, it was marketed as the future of women's basketball, with top WNBA players, flashy promotions, and big-name investors. But just 2 weeks in, it's already turning into a disaster, and the numbers prove it.
It's Angel Reese showing up in a G-string at all these parties. That's what's made the WNBA popular. It's a joke. They got a white girl problem.
The latest Unrivaled League viewership stats are embarrassing. Week 2 ratings plummeted below 100,000 viewers, with some games barely reaching 75,000. Keep in mind, this is a league that was supposed to attract millions.
Nobody is coming close to the power of the Caitlin Clark effect. Like, they're just not.
You and I both know, right? We both know. No Caitlin Clark, no watch. No Caitlin Clark in the league, no watch. Caitlin Clark's in that league, viewership doubles, if not triple.
The worst part? One of those low-rated games featured Angel Reese herself, the player who once claimed she was a reason for women's basketball's rising popularity. Yet when Caitlin Clark isn't involved, the numbers tell a very different story.
It's here that we need to just realize Angel Reese is playing, and she's been very big on herself as being a massive draw. If that is in fact the truth, then why are people not watching with the same excitedness that they were watching Caitlin Clark?
Meanwhile, the contrast with Clark's impact is staggering. When Caitlin Clark plays, millions tune in. Her WNBA games routinely shatter records, pulling in over 2 million viewers per matchup. Even networks like ION, which aren't known for sports broadcasting, pulled over 1 million viewers when Clark was on the court. But Angel Reese, she can't even get 100,000 people to watch, proving once and for all that fans are tuning in for Clark, not Reese.
Oh my God, why did this white girl hit this shot? What? Oh, this is terrible. We couldn't have checked some black girl in to knock down this shot? The white players are playing too well in their league, and it's bothering them.
And it's not just the ratings that expose Reese, it's her on-court performances too. Viral clips from recent Unrivaled League games show her airballing open three-pointers, missing layups, and failing to carry her team.
She's 22-23. She can barely hit layup. She's getting paid $74,000 for the WNBA. She's got, I'm sure, endorsement deals into the seven figures. She's bragging how much money she makes, and she doesn't need her WNBA salary.
Remember, Unrivaled was supposed to be a fast-paced, offensive-heavy league, yet Reese's biggest highlights are her mistakes. Fans have started calling her out, with one tweet summing it up perfectly. Caitlin Clark is a basketball player. Angel Reese is an Instagram model.
The one thing we know that women's basketball is not comfortable with, good marketing. Caitlin Clark are good marketing. I mean, Caitlin Clark comes in the WNBA, their cash cow, shows up, they avoid her. They think Caitlin Clark is the COVID. The whole league just tried to stay away from her as much as humanly possible when they should be entirely leaning in.
The reality is clear. Without Caitlin Clark, the Unrivaled League is collapsing. Angel Reese was never the ratings draw she claimed to be. She was just riding Clark's wave.
Angel Reese, really unlikable. It's hard for most men to dislike a woman who puts her butt on display everywhere she goes, and she's got a pretty big one and a good one. But she's unlikable.
And now that Clark is making bigger moves, the basketball world is seeing the truth. Clark is the star, and Reese simply can't carry a league on her own.
I'm not allowed to talk about her missing layups left and right, but she can go on her podcast and talk about Caitlin Clark or anything else that she wants to. But her supporters, oh, they're mad. Could you hit a rim? Could you not airball to the thousands of people that's watching on TV? It's a pretty poor-looking product on television. The announcers simply pretended Angel Reese airball on the three didn't happen.
Now let's talk about the shocking decision Caitlin Clark just made. One that left NBA fans stunned and once again proved why she's in complete control of the basketball world. For months, speculation was swirling that Clark would follow in Sabrina Ionescu's footsteps and participate in the NBA All-Star Weekend three-point contest.
But I was so sure about this one thing, and boy was I wrong. No, because I really wanted to see her at NBA All-Star Weekend.
Potentially facing Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Ionescu in a historic crossover event. It seemed like the perfect stage for Clark. A chance to compete on basketball's biggest platform in front of millions and further cement her status as the face of the game.
Indiana Fever star Caitlin Clark will not participate in the NBA All-Star Special three-point shootout in San Francisco and wants her first three-point contest to be at WNBA All-Star in Indianapolis this summer, her representatives at Excel Sports said.
But then came the shocker. Caitlin Clark declined the invitation. According to reports from Sports Business Journal, Clark has no interest in participating in an NBA three-point contest, leaving many fans wondering why.
They said Caitlin Clark has declined the NBA's offer to participate in the three-point contest during All-Star Weekend. They said sources said Clark is not interested in shooting three-pointers off a ball rack, considering her practice regimen consists of only catch-and-shoot three-pointers and shots off the dribble. And unless she is persuaded otherwise, she will decline the invitation.
The answer? Because Caitlin Clark isn't here for gimmicks, she's here to dominate on her own terms. Sources close to Clark revealed that the format of the NBA's three-point contest simply doesn't fit her playing style. Unlike traditional NBA shooters, Clark doesn't practice shooting off a ball rack.
We never see Caitlin shooting off of a rack. You know, she's great off the dribble, going into her left hand, shooting long threes. Like, she obviously has the ability. You know, we've seen her make 50 out of 54 shots. It's very different shooting off of a rack, and that is something that does take a bit of practice. And from what we have seen in her workouts and all these different types of things, if she's gonna do this contest, she wants to win it. She seems psychotic. She seems to have that Kobe mentality.
Her training revolves around catch and shoot threes and off the dribble shots, making the NBA's contest a completely different skill set. Entering the event without proper preparation didn't sit well with Clark, who has an elite competitor's mindset and refuses to participate in anything where she isn't fully prepared to win.
Who doesn't love a good girls versus boys moment? I was just thinking, with the momentum that Caitlin Clark has this season, with her being basketball, both men's and women's this year, I just thought it was the perfect stage. And it would definitely bring a little spark to NBA All-Star that NBA All-Star, unfortunately, hasn't had.
ESPN analyst Rachel Demita even compared Clark's mentality to Kobe Bryant's legendary mindset, saying, Clark isn't just there to put on a show. If she competes, she's going to win. She's got that killer instinct, that relentless drive. And if she doesn't feel fully ready for something, she's not going to do it.
She's not going to want to go out there and lose, and she's definitely not going to want to go out there not having practiced. It clearly shows her dedication and focus to being a better basketball player for next season, for the Indiana Fever next season.
But there's more. Some insiders believe that Clark's camp is still considering alternative options, including the possibility of a head-to-head contest with Steph Curry at the WNBA All-Star Weekend instead.
It's a good thing that maybe she's taking this All-Star break off. She's not doing this profession for any of the glitz and glam, any of the extra things. She is here in the WNBA with the Indiana Fever to win championships, to improve her game. And the fact that she was able to decline this, it shows a lot about where her focus lies.
If that happens, it would be a massive game changer, proving that Clark can pull NBA-level competition into her world rather than the other way around.
Reading between the lines a little bit, it's showing how dedicated she is to the Indiana Fever, how dedicated she is to getting better, and how dedicated she is to growing the women's game.
The bottom line? Caitlin Clark isn't chasing clout. She's building a legacy. Instead of taking a flashy NBA moment, she's staying laser-focused on improving her game and making an impact where it truly matters, in the WNBA, where she's set to dominate for years to come.
At this point, Caitlin Clark has become a household name, and I do think that her being on that stage at NBA All-Star would have been a place to continue to grow the WNBA because it just puts more eyeballs on those players.
Now let's break down why Caitlin Clark's rejection of the NBA All-Star Weekend is actually a power move. One that not only shifts the focus back to the WNBA, but also proves her dominance over Angel Reese once again. While many saw Clark skipping the NBA event as a missed opportunity, the truth is this was a calculated decision. Instead of boosting the NBA's ratings, Clark is choosing to elevate the WNBA, making her first three-point contest appearance at WNBA All-Star Weekend in Indianapolis. This move forces fans, sponsors, and the media to focus on the league that actually needs her presence the most.
They said one scenario would have an NBA player such as Curry conceivably reciprocating and doing a similar shootout at the WNBA All-Star game. Will Steph Curry go to WNBA All-Star and shoot against Caitlin Clark?
Think about it. If Clark had competed in the NBA All-Star three-point contest, it would have been another win for the NBA, stealing attention from the WNBA. But by saving her big moment for the WNBA's All-Star game, she's ensuring that all eyes are on women's basketball, not just on her in an NBA setting. It's a long-term play to grow the sport, not just her own brand.
Now, Caitlin Clark also just celebrated a birthday a couple days ago, and for her birthday, she was in the gym, and she went 50 for 54 from 3 on her birthday.
This decision alone sets her apart from Angel Reese, who has built her reputation on social media antics rather than actual game-changing moments. While Clark is prioritizing the WNBA, Reese can't even keep Unrivaled League afloat. Even the possibility of Steph Curry joining Clark at the WNBA All-Star Weekend proves how much influence she holds.
So as you can see, Coach Keith Porter is there. Coach KP told me that one of his goals for Caitlin was just to expand her bag. So no matter what defense is thrown at her, she has something for it. Caitlin Clark wants to drop 20 or 30 a game. They're just gonna have to accept that because there's not much they can do to stop her.
If that happens, Clark won't just be playing in a major event. She'll be bringing NBA-level competition to her stage instead of stepping onto theirs. Meanwhile, Reese continues to fade into irrelevance. The same league that hired her to bring in viewers is now struggling to even break 100,000 viewers per game. She was positioned as a star, yet her league's viewership is free-falling while Clark's every move dominates headlines. This proves one thing: Caitlin Clark is the future of women's basketball, and Angel Reese was never her equal.
Some spoilers from the video. So she never misses 2 3-pointers in a row throughout these 54 shots that she took. Somebody said, how about she tries with a size 7 when that happens? We know that that also will not be a problem for Caitlin because she's already shooting.
While Clark is making strategic moves to solidify her legacy, Reese is watching her influence slip away as the world realizes she was never the draw she claimed to be. So there you have it. Caitlin Clark just made another power move, rejecting the NBA All-Star Weekend to keep the focus on the WNBA, while Angel Reese and the Unrivaled League continue to collapse in front of our eyes.
She just wants to be the best basketball player. And she's caught up in this political deal. And she's in the middle of all of these racial discussions that she has nothing to do with, wants nothing to do with, and then they're demonizing her fans.
Clark's decision wasn't just about skipping an event, it was about proving that she controls the future of women's basketball. By choosing to make her first three-point contest appearance at WNBA All-Star Weekend, she's ensuring that the spotlight stays on the league that actually needs her. And with rumors that Steph Curry might even join her at that event, it's clear that Clark isn't just playing the game, she's changing it.
So even though we are not able to see Caitlin Clark play in an organized league this offseason, we are getting to see her go game speed, and it'll just be really exciting to see how these little tweaks add up to the full package of Caitlin Clark gameplay that we will hopefully see during this next WNBA season.
Meanwhile, Angel Reese's claims that fans were tuning in for her have completely fallen apart. The Unrivaled League's ratings are a disaster, and her on-court performances have exposed her as nothing more than hype with no substance. The world wanted Caitlin Clark, and the numbers prove it. So what do you think? Did Clark make the right call by rejecting the NBA event? And is Angel Reese's time in the spotlight finally coming to an end? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because this story is far from over. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
WNBA players got upset. We don't have the privilege of just playing basketball. We have to care about these social issues. She's playing in a social issues league that wants to wear shirts that say vote, wants to scream Black Lives Matter, wants to push some sort of political agenda. She just wants to ball.
Caitlin Clark is white, and because she's white, and because she's considered box office and she's a star who happens to be white, that is why Eminem, when I brought up words like envy or jealous or resentment, whatever word you wanted to pick, I didn't say it in a negative fashion like, oh my God, it's a problem. I used the word justified. You know why? Because black people throughout this country have felt that level of ire because we know we've got to be twice as good to get half as much. We know we've got to extend ourselves. We know we've got to put ourselves on Front Street to have a shot at getting half. Pick a profession. Pick a name. Ask yourself, pick the biggest star. Pick the biggest star in podcasts. Pick the biggest star in television. Pick the biggest star in sports or whatever. That's black. And ask yourself the question that we all ask. If they were white, what would they be? How much money would we get paid if we were white? How receptive would America be to us? Because it's still 60% of the population when the white populace in this country is dipped from 90 to 85 to 80 to 70 to now 60% and dipping, okay? Even now, you have a situation where you get somebody who happens to be white and they're a star and they deserve the acclaim. They receive something we know we wouldn't receive on that level. Why do you think I say on national television, when white folks catch a cold, black folks catch pneumonia? Because it's always worse for us. There's always an extra challenge. We always have to go through more. It's not a secret. We get it. And so all I'm trying to say to you is when Angel Reese said what she said, let's read between the lines. Because what she's really saying is that this is really not a big deal. We're making it a big deal because of what I did and who I did it to.